Each summer there used to be a balloon festival, because of course it never rains in the summer in Britain, and so the idea is that these balloons would take off in the morning and in the evening, and I mean I can think of several weekends where the rain just hammered down, which meant no balloons could fly, no people turned up, everybody running all the stalls just sat there miserable, drinking coffee, and it was just awful, really. And you think, why do we do this? You know, balloon festivals might work in Spain.
You are definitely missing the sea.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it?
We've gone down at night, because here, we can go down about, we've had a drink down there about 9:45. So the sun is setting and it's coming in along the prom. And yeah, we're cold. Yes, I know. We get cold. We've actually put our winter gear on and go down and have a drink, sit there like this.
I know.
We're on the road above, because it's got different layers.
Yeah.
I'm looking.
Down,
And so we look down, and there's this group. They obviously go every Sunday or something. They've got a grid they put down, and they've got a Walkman ghetto blaster, and they're doing the tango.
It was lovely.
And we were just, and it's so good. Everybody's
So amazing.
yeah, it's really, really good.
You know, we were just walking down.
I'm not at home, but I've got this on my phone. I don't know if you'll be able to see that or not.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. That was our first holiday together abroad. We went with two other couples. So I was 21 and John was 20. And we went to a place called Esther in the north of Spain. And we just thought it was wonderful because, well, I'd been to Paris with my school friends, but he had never been abroad at all. So I like that photo because I really loved the dress I had on, and I can remember I got it out of Etams, and it was made of chiffon.
From the grave.
Made of chiffon, and it was a sort of pale turquoise with wee white polka dots. I just thought it was the bee's knees in that dress, and I don't have many photos that I don't take very good photos, so I like that one. And John's nice in it too. He's got auburn hair, although you can't see it in black and white, but he was auburn and very thin.
Wow.
And the two other couples we're still friends with them. That's 52 years ago, and they're both still married as well. So sometimes it works.
When I got married in round about 1810, or that's the way it seems, we moved to a new area, the south side. New flat, new life, new husband. I need a new doctor. So I had a walk round the area and I found this lovely row of Georgian townhouses. Very smart. And there was a doctor's surgery there, so I went up the path, rang the bell, spoke to the doctor's wife, who was a sort of part-time receptionist, and she said, "Oh yes, I've got your name and your date of birth and your address. If you want to come along, just phone up, make an appointment, and then when you come in, the waiting room is the second door on your left." Thanks very much. So about 9 months, 10 months later, I had occasion to phone the doctor to make an appointment because I had a bloody sore throat. So along I went for this appointment, up the path, in the door, beautiful hall, And I thought, wow, this is gorgeous. Big polished wooden table with a bowl of roses on it. The flowers, not the sweeties. Paintings, gorgeous. In the second door on the left, to the waiting room, nobody there. Oh, that's fine, he must be having his dinner. I'll be first. So, looked round, sofa, armchairs. So I parked myself on an armchair. And I looked round and I thought, there's no waiting room chairs. There's no magazines. There's a telly in the corner. Oh, wait a minute. I'm in the wrong room. This is their private sitting room. This is the waiting room. Oh my God. So I shot out of the room and I stood in the hall. And I looked round at all these closed doors and it was totally silent. And there was no posters up saying wash your hands or have you got an STD? Or is it STI? Well, whatever. One of them. And I looked round and I thought, this doesn't look like a doctor's waiting room or hall when you come in. Oh, for God's sake, I'm in the wrong house. Oh my God. So I tiptoed out the front door, closed it quietly, and I beetled down the path. And I had to look back to see if anybody was looking out the window to say, who's that just been in my house? And I closed the gate behind me so quietly it didn't make a click. And I ducked down behind the hedge and I beetled up the road. And I found the doctor's surgery about 4 doors up.
That's Malcolm Francis, whom we've been friends with for about 70 years really. We're each other's best man. We have travelled round Europe, all the main cities, primarily to watch football, Barcelona, Milan, Amsterdam, I believe it, Cape. Friendship, I mean, as I say, great to have friends that you can still talk to. Our families are still friends. We go to each other's weddings, maybe even funerals. We got moved up to West Mains, which is near the King's Buildings, where we were decanted after the war to rank and drive, and Malcolm came up about 2 years later, and I don't know, we just blended, a crowd of us, and we had our fights, we sorted it out. Brilliant mate.
So this is a picture of an old tractor on the island of South Uist. The tractor used to belong to the farmer who found the land on the what's called the Macher, which is the very flat area that you can see there. That where the horizon is actually the sea. From there, it's sea all the way to the United States. No, actually to Canada. Uist is on the same latitude as parts of Canada where they have polar bears. And in the island, the sea air tends to rust all the tractors and ploughs and agricultural machinery very quickly, so it sadly gets left out. But I just love the tractor sitting there, rather lost and forlorn, waiting for somebody to come along and love it again.
I think when I was young, I tended to live in a wee world of my own, and that would probably be an adventure in its own. You know, pretend I was a motorbike or things like that. You know, going to school. I was told that at school that you know, John lives in a wee world of his own, basically. Been involved in a lot of committee work. And I think my imagination and ideas can develop, you know, quite easily, and quite often have impressed other people because it's a different, you know, train of thought, which has been quite successful. Yeah, been president about 5 times in various things, and as I say, when it comes to meetings, I just seem to have the talent to see the quick route into things as well, which, if it's a valuation to things, then that's important. Yeah.
When it was our silver wedding, we went to Disney. Euro Disney had just opened, and in April, and it was April in Paris, and John had always promised me that he would take to Paris for my silver wedding. So we went with Sharon, our daughter, and the only way she would go was because she wanted to go to Euro Disney. So we went there on a Sunday, and it bucketed the whole day. And it was just fascinating to see everybody with these yellow Macs that everybody bought out the shops. It didn't really, dampen the fun at all. You still did the same thing, but everybody was going about these yellow Mac things.
We've been cutting it up because I play bowls, and if it's a tie and it's a serious game, you just have to keep playing until the ground gets unplayable, or otherwise you go slipping. And of course, the people are beating you, they won't stop me, so they were the winners, So, but we've had some bad days in this. In May, we've had lots of bad Mays like this, I can assure you.
She gathered, I played golf yesterday at Brummie, which is out Last Wadeway. Furthest point on the course, and we were soaked. And this wee buggy came along telling us the game was off, it was cancelled. And never been so glad to get off a golf course in my life. Right, it's taken me until this morning to dry everything. And I can also tell you, I played golf on the 2nd of June 1969 at Dalmahoy. And it
snowed. And it snowed. That was my birthday, and so I remember it snowed on my birthday.
You should have said, Elaine, I would never have played golf. It was a printers competition. It was a free bar. And I've never seen so many people stoned with alcohol.
Didn't like him.
That's true.
I hate being told what to do by a man. He's not telling me what to do. Like 30 years on, he's
create a beer and start walking towards the hostel.
I didn't know.
Oh no! So that I had to kind of get that across, that you can't do that. You can't bring that, off left field. So when I'm trying to talk about bird watching and stuff like that, and I'm innocently going out the window. And I'm thinking, as an ornithologist, I'm going, now I'm not quite sure if that's a cormorant or a shag.
Oh, when we started giggling.
And they're sitting at the back of the bus.
What's a shag?
Oh,
come on, you had to,
Yeah, I know. Well, I appreciate you for it now. People that I thought I could rely on, clearly, as the days wore on, were on her side. Because it was so much fun.
Oh, I fell in cow shit. Oh, sorry. My auntie had knitted me an Aran jumper because I was going to Aran. And the bobbly stitch, the poo was all stuck to it. Jonathan came and cleaned up the shit off my Auntie Gladys's jumper. And I smelt him. He was up close and personal, and I smelt him, and I thought, he smells like my granddad. He must be nice. Because my granddad's my favourite person in the world. And I smelt him, and he smelt like my granddad. And when I went home, I was telling my aunties about dust. He smells like Dad, my granddad. I'm like, what? Bogey rolling pan drops? Because that's what my granddad has.
To change the week that you went away so that you get good weather, but it generally always rained. But then you just have to be creative. So when my children were younger, we just used to go in the sea anyway. It didn't matter.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. Sometimes we're a bit tricky. You'd have to hold down we in the middle of the night, it was torrential rain and wind, and you'd think, why on earth would I choose camping as a holiday? But holding the posts down, having hot chocolates at midnight just to try and make it fun for the children. But the next day would be lovely. So, Pat's on the back of a motorbike with her husband John, and they used to go travelling around on this motorbike, and in her leathers, which I love, and she to go camping, and they travelled all over Scotland. And you said you went abroad as well, and they lived in Kenya for a while. So you took it to Kenya as well. So, and I love the fact that school teacher, motorbike, how that works together. It's lovely, isn't it?
Oh,
yes.
These colours.
Yes, the leather jacket.
Oh no, it's just great.
Yeah.
Because you're You were kept safe in a way.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just enjoyed it.
Well, I was telling Pat when I was younger, I was on the back of a motorbike and we came off, but I wasn't wearing leathers, so it's really important to. It helps to protect you if you.
Never took you for a member of Hell's Angels, Pat.
Oh.
Looks could
Bet
be
you were
deceiving.
Once you're on, it's good. You're all right.
I wasn't on a motorbike, but I was on a bike. That's me and my wee brother.
Oh.
So you see, as it hear you faded a bit now. That was my wee brother, and that was where we stayed. That was 2 wee poles there. We always said to go through the 2 poles because we wrote your way out. You'll never believe this. One Sunday, 90 miles was cycled. We went over the Lambeth Moors. Do you all know them? The Lambeth Moors. Hills. I've got to find myself toiling up that hill. And Alan got to talk before me, and he stood and he said, "Oh, how do you? I thought you'd have got off your bike, but I wasn't getting off my bike." He can do it, I can do it. But that was the longest one day. The wee short ones in the evening was to Peebles. That was quite just a wee short one. This is me and my grandson. Scott's going to his dance, and I've been to my line dancing. Can you see that one?
Oh, yeah, you can see it now.
Quality dance, I think it's for school dance. That's he's got his kilt on. He's the one he's going to be a daddy now. He's the one we're waiting on the baby coming.
He's far too young.
No, he's not too young. They're so delighted. He says to me, "Grandmum, it's getting exciting but scary too." He's got plenty of babysitters. He'll not get a chance to see the baby when his dad gets a hold of it. My son just when Scott was born, the clack goes, "He's mine, he's mine." He's taken over.
My daughter was in Prague doing 6 months gap teaching English as a foreign language, which is crazy because she couldn't speak their language. However, we went to visit her and we took the train up to Vienna for the weekend. We hadn't booked anything, so when we got to the station we went into the booking office and the guy there was so harassed, so many students and tourists, and he looked exactly like Danny DeVito actually, running about, very harassed. And we asked and he gave us an address. As we got further down the street it got more and more seedy, and we started to see some very interesting shops with interesting things in them. I should have sussed out something was wrong when we realised that the doormat was actually an old tea towel. The bed had a plastic headboard with control panel by the side, and the ceiling tiles were polystyrene falling off. The bedspread was a dirty old dog blanket type thing, and the anteroom my daughter was to sleep in was even worse. So we're standing there and I'm saying, "We can't stay here, we can't stay here, this is awful." And my husband said, "Well, you booked it, what are you going to do about it?" I said, "We're not staying here," and that's it. So we trooped downstairs and stood at this desk again, and the man came out from the back and he just looked at us, and I said, "I'm terribly sorry, I really don't think this is for us." And he smiled and he agreed and he gave us our money back, because obviously he was very glad to see the back of us.
She would pay for everyone to go to Disney, because she'd been promising the grandchildren to go to, what's it called? Is it Disneyland? But I think it's Disney World in Florida. Yeah, so Gatwick. And we stayed in the motel there, and it started snowing. It needed a certain length of runway to take off. And finally, we were allowed on board for 13 hours. came on, and the stewardess came down. She flopped in front of me next to it. She said, "Oh, good, a fit young man. I always have a real problem in drills getting this door open when we've practiced." That was me flummoxed until, and it was all that context of my mum's there and we're not getting on, but we had a great trip. I loved Disney World. I loved it.
Say 4 11-year-olds and one guy 13, and we started off. We went up over the Blackfords, over the bridge, up to the Pentlands. We had our picnic up at the Pentlands, and this guy says, "Oh, we'll go to Peebles." We didn't know what Peebles was, so we started walking, and we walked, and we walked, and we got lost actually. We hadn't a clue where we were. And we met an old guy, and we told him what we were doing, and he just laughed and says, "You're miles from anywhere, lads." And he pointed us in the right direction. We finished up in Peebles, which is actually 22 miles from Edinburgh. We had a dog with us, and the driver on the bus wouldn't let us back on a bus with a dog. He finally relented, and we had to hide the dog under the seat. We could have been lost, seriously lost in that journey, thanks to this 13-year-old boy. So since then, I think I've said to myself, no, I'll do what I'm going to do. I'm not going to listen to some people through the journey if you want to live. But yeah, journeys are magic things. Been many of them.